One great thing about celebrating Halloween is that we can face our fears in a fun way. So with that, here are a few birds that have a spooky side to them. Watching these beautiful birds gracefully swimming, it's hard to imagine what could be so eerie about them. They are one of the most peaceful birds. There is, however, something about these feathered beings that can send shivers down the spine of even the toughest. The echoing whale call reverberating throughout the forest on a windless night. For someone unfamiliar with these birds, they would probably mistake it as the cry of a wolf, maybe even a werewolf. Then there is the strange tremolo call that sounds maniacal, which is said that if the laugh were human, it would be the laugh of the deeply insane. At night, that could give you the heebie-jeebies. Another call, their yodel, made in spring by males to claim territory, has quite the goosebump-inducing effect too. All of these calls, though, are eerie, yet in a beautiful way. Have you ever been in the woods at dusk and felt like something was watching you? Well, you probably were, and it was probably by an owl. Makes me think of the Iron Maiden song, Fear of the Dark. I have a constant fear that something's always near. Owls have inspired folklore for centuries, due to their nocturnal habits, ghostly appearance, and how quietly they hunt their prey. They were even thought of as evil and persecuted because of it, which just makes me sad because they are actually awesome birds. This is Halloween though, it's time for fun. The spookiest owls, I think, is the barn owl. That white glowing face at night and those eyes bear a resemblance to gray aliens. In fact, the movie The Fourth Kind had a barn owl that would be seen at night looking in the window of people who were being visited by aliens. If I were to see one looking at me at night, I'd get the creeps at first for sure. The sounds they make are also rather scary. Unlike the hooting of great horned owls, barn owls make drawn-out harsh screams that would certainly give you cold shivers when heard at night. With all that said though, they are such beautiful owls too. Featherless heads and necks, these guys have a spooky look for sure. But going beyond appearance, they literally eat the dead, often showing up after the animal dies. Some people say that they will follow a dying animal waiting for its life to end, but that's apparently a myth. Nevertheless, blood-covered faces from the recently deceased, it's no wonder many mythologies saw them as a symbol of death, or that seeing them flying was an omen of danger. Don't let that scare you too much though. These birds earn their rightful place within the ecosystem as beneficial cleanup crew. Eating rotting corpses that other animals can't means that these guys keep disease down. So while it is grotesque what they do, be kind to them, for there is beauty in these beasts. For that matter, be kind to any bird I mention. This bird is so weird and funny looking that I just love it. Holy God. Gotta keep it creepy though, so yeah, look at that. It's hard to fathom that it's actually a bird. It belongs to the nightjars and frogmouths family and can be found in Central and South America. They are nocturnal birds with huge eyes. Even when their eyes are closed, they can still see, so no sneaking up on a sleeping one. Their calls are said to be just as eerie, often described as haunting poor me ones. That's sure to frighten someone in the forest at night. They don't do much moving around, just opening their really big mouths, which allows them to catch insects that fly too close. It's easy to imagine how hard it would be to spot one, since they camouflage very well too. But if you spotted one at the right moment looking like this, you'd sure get a fright. I love them, spooky in a fun way. Found in East Africa, these birds, the Shoebill Stork, are peculiar. Like they are trapped in the wrong timeline and should be back when dinosaurs ruled the earth. Nearly 5 feet tall and the ability to stand extremely still for hours, you'd probably think you were looking at a sculpture or something, which gives them an overall spooky vibe. And look at their bill. It's odd, but the frightening thing is the sound they can make with it. During mating, when a male sees a female, to impress her, he creates a sound that is eerily similar to a machine gun. Holy, I'd jump out of my skin if I heard that sound coming out of that bird's bill. They are quite the fearless bird, too, hunting young crocodiles. Imagine that intimidating glassy stare, the last thing you see before your demise. Yeesh. On a lighter note, and for my fellow gamers out there, in the game The Legend of Zelda: Skyward Sword, Loftwings, benevolent birds that are used to fly around the region, were inspired by the shoebill, so that's pretty cool. Found in the Australian rainforest, this bird, the cassowary, can reach nearly 6 feet tall. These scary flightless giants are more similar looking to dinosaurs than the Shoebill Stork. So if you want to know what it was like back then, look no further than this guy to ignite your imagination. They are every bit as ruthless too as you would think a dinosaur to be, known for attacking people by kicking and clawing, even when seemingly unprovoked. Their strength and heated temper can actually kill people and have. Imagine just being out for a jog in the forest when out of the bushes comes this guy. Sounds like a terrifying experience. I bet a horror film could be made on this bird. The Attack of the Cassowary. The look in that bird's eyes says it all. Don't cross my path or I will mess you up. It seems that taming them is not an easy feat either, as zookeepers have a hard time with them. Aside from their ferocious nature, I find the colors in them so neat looking, and the fact they look remarkably like prehistoric dinosaurs just makes them pretty darn cool. I remember watching a BBC program a few years ago called The Unnatural History of London. It was about the various species of wild animals that live in the city. In one part, there was an alarmingly huge pelican in a park where it lives. Just a little backstory, eastern white pelicans have lived in the St. James Park near Buckingham Palace for more than 300 years, having been introduced when the Russian ambassador presented some to King Charles II in 1664. Anyway, in the program, people were getting their pictures taken with the pelican. Down on the ground were some pigeons foraging. I remember the bird slyly watching them, then bam, it gulped one up in its huge bill. The pigeon was visibly fighting inside trying to get out, which went on for a few moments. Then the pelican just swallowed it, whole, alive. Like holy. If you can't believe it, I'll leave a link to the Daily Mail from back in 2010 when it happened. Even before that took place, I didn't like the look in its eyes. It had a conniving one, but that just solidified it for me. That's how they eat everything, just gulp it up whole, alive. Horrifying. I should say that although I feel uneasy about those large pelicans, they are known as extremely friendly and are a pretty big tourist attraction. What is it with storks being creepy? Aren't they supposed to be the deliverers of newborn babies? I don't think I'd want my baby delivered to me from that guy, the Marabou stork. It looks like the Grim Reaper and is referred to as the Undertaker bird due to the way it looks from back on. Black feathers and a white fluff around its neck make it appear as though it is wearing a cloak. Front on, they have featherless heads adding to their spookiness. And they are large, standing over 5 feet tall with a wingspan of 10 feet. Their behavior is pretty creepy too, often hanging around with vultures and feeding mostly on animal carcasses. They even feed on garbage, which is actually a good thing for the environment. They will eat living animals as well, sometimes even adult flamingos. Yikes. However, the most disturbing thing about them is the fact that locals say, and I don't know how much truth there is to it, that these large storks have taken small children. If that is true, that's pretty darn terrifying. This stork is the true boogeyman. Make sure to do your homework, kiddies, and be good to your parents, or the Marabou stork will get ya. Plenty of spooky birds did not make my list. Harpy eagle, giant Antarctic petrel, vampire finches, and we can't forget one of the most misunderstood birds, crows, which are full of intelligence and fascinating behaviors that you can learn all about in this video. Thanks for watching. Happy Halloween birding!